If you're on the hunt for actionable insights on escaping the corporate grind, embracing entrepreneurship, and building financial freedom, then you've found your guide. Welcome to the Deep Dive with Drake, where the success stories of real entrepreneurs unfold. Join host Drake Abshire as he delves into creating a multifaceted entrepreneurial career, inspired by his impactful Southern heritage. The stage is set. Let's embark on this journey with Drake.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive with Drake. I am so excited about today's episode. We are actually having a special guest who is a buddy of mine. We really only know each other from social media and seeing each other from afar, but I've been a big fan of his business and everything that I've seen him do with his business. So I thought we would bring him in today as a guest, get to know him a bit better. He's a successful realtor. He's a content creator. He's a mentor. He's a family man and an avid traveler. So let's dive right in, everybody. Danny Burgess, please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, so everybody has a little background on who you are.
Sure. So I run a team in the San Francisco Bay Area. I actually live 2 hours away from the Bay Area in Sacramento. So I have a team in Sacramento, a team in the Bay Area, and my dogs just got home from the river. So they're all pumped up to see me. They haven't seen me in 3 days. So they just got let in. But anyways, so I have a team in the San Francisco Bay Area. We've been running that business for about 10 years. We've had a few $100 million years in volume, which were really successful years. Last year was actually the first year where we went backwards thanks to the market. And we actually dropped by about 23% last year in sales volume. So we dropped down to 78 million and we were kind of crushed about it. But it was a true blessing in disguise because we kind of looked at what was important in our lives. And I was like, dude, do we have to make all of this money to live a really happy and fulfilled life? Like, I'm always the person who's screaming from the mountaintops, like, live a happy life first, right? Live a fulfilled life first. And money always comes. And last year was kind of the first year where that was put to the test. And I look back on last year and I look at the travels that my family had and the memories we made and the people we've helped. And I was like, that was a really amazing year. Yet our business dropped almost 25%. So interesting thing. But I love to travel. I'm an endurance athlete. So I've ran a few ultra marathons. My son has been to 10 countries. My daughter's been to like 7 and she's 2 years old. We travel a lot. We're heading off on our biggest adventure in about a month to go do a 5-week RV trip, but all about leverage, investing properly, and living a big life.
That's amazing, man. I love to hear all of this stuff. And I love the fact that you're talking about the whole money balance thing, because I feel like so many agents and so many entrepreneurs get that confused, where they think like, oh, I'm going to be happy if I get here, right? Or I'm going to get happy once I'm making this much money. And I love that you're saying, like, you're making it, right? You're up there, you're getting it. You're one of the highest percentage realtors probably in the country, right? For your sales volume with the team. But is it really resulting in everything that you ever dreamed of or ever thought it would be? And you just answered that question, right? So tell me this, why would you pick real estate? Why do you think that was your career path, and what inspired you to head that direction?
I've been a service person my whole life. So I started in the restaurant business as a bartender, waiter, busser. And, I spent about 10 years doing that and I loved it, to be honest. But my dad was an architect and builder in the Bay Area. And he just said, Dan, this is a true story. He was like, Dan, real estate agents suck. He was like, almost all real estate agents that I deal with are terrible. And he's like, I know how competitive you are. I know how great you are in service. He's like, I know you can beat them. So he challenged me to go to 10 open houses and feel these people out. I went to 10. 9 of them were terrible indeed. And one was fantastic. And she was this older woman. I wish I could remember her name because I talk about her often, but I don't remember her. But she was just maybe like in her late 60s. And she was so full of life and energy and passion. And you could tell she was just crushing it in at minimum real estate, if not in other arenas of her life. And I said, that's who I want to be. And that's who I want to beat. And so, that was almost exactly 10 years ago. I got my license in my first year. And I tell this often because I want people to hear it. I was a Lyft driver, Uber driver, bartender, waiter throughout my entire first year of real estate. And I made $10,000 my first year in real estate. My second year, I made $180,000.
Nice.
So it just went and continued on from there. But the first year was extraordinarily hard, but I was absolutely all in on the business.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very fun. So I was in the same boat as you. I was actually in the fitness industry from my first year in real estate, and it was the same thing. My production really didn't take off until the second real year of getting out and just going full in real estate. So would you recommend that to a newer agent, like just taking that risk and jumping in?
It all depends on where they are in their life. Like, do they have kids? Do they not have kids? Are they living at home with their parents? Right? Like, it was really eye-opening when I started building my team on where people were in their lives in their moments of time, right? So if you are living at home with your parents and you have a very low overhead, right? It's your time to go all in. You have the runway to do it, right? Whereas if you have a family, it's going to be very challenging to go all in on real estate and not have income coming in to cover your overhead, right? So it's all dependent on where they are, who they are, how much they want to get out of real estate, what's their end goal. It's just really dependent, right? So it's hard to kind of dictate a one answer type thing.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. Well, let me ask you this. So what do you think were your tactics, or what helped you specifically to really start to grow so fast? Because obviously you found success very, very quickly after you went full in. So all the way in.
Every day I showed up. So I showed up to every single training. I was obsessed with being at the trainings. I was obsessed with open houses. I would do anything for open houses my first year or two in business. I mean, even today, open houses are a big part of our business, but calling on the phone. So I would call canceled and expireds, and I would sharpen my sword every single day. And so I think one thing we should all look at is, like, you can aim to have a 20 or 30-year real estate career, or you could do the same amount of effort in 10 years. And potentially be out of sales in a decade if you wanted to condense your efforts, right? But it's all about conversations, building relationships as fast as you can, and learning as fast as you can. And the only way you do that is through trial and error. So, I always say just show up. If you show up, a lot of magic happens, and then efforts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And now you do a little bit of content creation, kind of show what's going on in your life. So what's your process with that? How involved are you with, getting your brand out there through content creation and influence?
I mean, honestly, most of the stuff that I do these days is agent facing. So I'm just a big coach and mentor within the space. Almost everything I do online in terms of marketing is all guerrilla marketing, and it's all based for agents to learn. I just feel like so many agents across the country are under-trained, they're under-supported, not enough accountability, and not enough just blatant truth. A lot of my mentees and people on my team, they love me because I'm just radically transparent and honest with what it's going to take for them to be successful. So the marketing piece, it's kind of messy. I just post my heart, and I actually just got yelled at as we speak right now from my stager from posting how upset I was today about my staging. That I didn't name their company, but she just texted me right now. It's asking, did you really post that? And I was like, yeah, but my marketing is one of maybe a Gary Vaynerchuk theme, which is just bulk content, right? Like get people out there, and you'll attract the people, who like you, and the people who don't like you will not follow you. And that's exactly what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to connect with the people who love us, and then nothing else matters.
Yeah. Authenticity is so important. And I try to teach my agents that as well. And I'm working on it myself. The more vulnerable and authentic I find my content is, I notice that it does tend to get a lot more feedback from people. A lot more people find it relatable. So I've really been diving into trying to experiment with that more in my content myself. Have you noticed any feedback with you being more vulnerable about the different aspects of your life besides real estate?
For the most part, it's all been positive. I try to stay away from like hot subjects, religious, politics, things of that nature. For the most part, it's all been positive. I have had some awkward conversations and moments in time where maybe I was too open and transparent. But at the end of the day, like, that's kind of what I stand for. And so I have to take the good and the bad for it. But yeah, sometimes I shoot content right when I'm coming off the trails. Like, I do a lot of running and I'm like shirtless, and I'm not trying to be shirtless on the video. I just have something to say in that moment. And I think a lot of people they're like, whoa, what's this? Like, this person's supposed to be professional. Like, I think a lot of my colleagues, realtors, are like, wow, this guy's wild. Like, he's got his shirt off. He swears, he cusses on his videos. But that's just who I am, and my clients see that in me. And I often tell my people I coach, I say, isn't that the person your clients are looking for? Like, aren't they looking for a real aggressive go-getter, someone who's going to be vocal, someone who's going to represent their listing, at an aggressive and high level? Like, that's what I'd be looking for in a vendor. And once again, some people are going to love it and some people aren't. So.
Yeah, no. And the people who love you are your tribe, right? That's who's going to surround you and support you. So, and that's really what you want, because the people, that's what I try to tell them. Don't sweat that some people don't come into your life that they're not a match, right? Because they weren't going to probably be great clients for you anyway. You would do things that annoy them, or there would be moments where it'd be awkward, right? That's how I would feel, at least.
Yeah, it's exactly that. You got to kind of live in it. And be okay with whatever comes back,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a different world, right? Isn't social media like a separate universe? Like, it's kind of, I see so many people with their phone in their face, and my phone stays on silent. It just does. That way I don't get distracted or disrupted from my moment. But when you step away from your phone for like a few hours, it's funny how like refreshed and like better you feel, because you're not stuck in this alternate universe, So to an extent, none of it matters, like in real life, but of course for business, it does. So.
Yeah. What you said earlier, I think, is a perfect segue into us talking a little bit about, entrepreneurship can be so hard mentally, and it can be hard on families, and it can really get out of control if we allow it, because it'll rule our lives, our clients and everything reaching out to us. So my thoughts are, what do you do to kind of support yourself mentally, or what are the things that keep that outside noise from crushing in too hard into your personal space and your family?
Well, I think number one, acknowledging that there's almost nothing we can do to be perfect. Like, it's always going to overwhelm us. There's always going to be stress. There's always going to be anxieties every day. I think just acknowledging that is helpful. And I think being on top of your mindset and your health is like, it's everything. Because if you can walk through your day with positivity, gratitude, the worst of moments only last moments, right? And you can move on with your day and live a big day for the rest of the day. But most people don't prepare their minds every morning. Most people aren't, being conscious about their efforts towards fulfillment and happiness and peace. And so they let these things derail them. So, I'm absolutely the first thing for perfect, but every morning, we're exercising, we're writing, we're reading, we're journaling. I'm always looking at my next travels to inspire me and kind of push me to be great that day. And just today, I mean, what a wonderful example today was. My whole day just fell off a cliff at 10 a.m. when I got to this listing and saw the staging was a mess and house wasn't power washed. And 5 years ago, that probably would have thrown me for a huge loop for the rest of the day, if not the week. But instead, we have a sense of clarity on where we're going. We understand that this listing is just a small blip on the road to our final goals. And with that perspective, it really helps kind of calm everything down. And then very much different than what I used to be when I was a newer agent, was just so obsessed with every single little thing, the perfectionist in me, where I couldn't let go of things, right? And that's another big part of it that I see, like agents who only sell 10 or 15 homes a year, they get really stuck in the minutia. Every deal takes up so much of their energy. They're not able to go and bring in more business at the same time. It's almost like a stifling type of a thing. And they just have to let go of that stuff. They have to know that deals are going to fall through. Earnest money deposit, there's going to be issues. There's going to be issues with lenders. Deals are going to take longer than usual. It's just part of the process. And you have to be able to snap out of that and jump into the next thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say that you have your family involved in any of your endeavors, or do they support you with any of your successes, or have they contributed to it?
Well, my wife is by far and away the most critical component of my life. She does everything besides, like, she's even in the business. So she does a lot in the business, but she does everything for our family. So without her, there would be none of this. She is by far and away the most important piece of our family. And without my family, I would be bartending in Thailand. So, she's the key component to keeping our family together, to keeping my kids healthy and doing the right activities. And that allows me to be free to go to bed by 9 p.m., be up by 4, right out the door. I don't have to worry about the kids' breakfasts. Like, all of these are huge privileges and perks. And, training my kids to be strong, independent individuals, even though they're only 2 and 6, really helps my peace of mind, knowing that I can rely on them to do the right things and be proud of themselves as well. So,
yeah, I love that. What about any challenges or sacrifices? Have you had to make any along the way for your business and your own personal growth? And how did you manage those if you did?
It's kind of an interesting topic for me personally because I really try not to. Like I never want to compare myself to people, but I do. And I feel like most of my colleagues sacrifice time with their family, and I just don't. I feel like I spend more time with my family than anyone I know in any career. So whether you're 9 to 5 or a realtor or any other entrepreneur, I mean, I'm sitting in my house right now. I just got home. It was 12 p.m. by the time I got home, and I'm going to pick my son up and we're going to go play and we're going to spend the rest of the week together. So it's Wednesday. So, I at this chapter of my life, no, I think pre-kids, I sacrificed a ton. I sacrificed my health. I sacrificed my relationship with my wife. I got sent to the hospital when I was 33 years old from an anxiety attack that I thought was a heart attack. Like I was over 200 pounds. Like there was a lot I sacrificed before I made the switch into the mindset of put health and wellness first, put your family first, put investing first, right? You put all those things first, business is last, and it gets the smallest slice of the pie. But for some reason, that slice is more powerful than when I had it in front of everything else. I don't know why, but for some reason, the universe responds well when you do the right thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what do you think was the turning point for you? Because it sounds like, I mean, obviously you don't look like you're overweight and you don't look like you're about to have a panic attack. So what was that turning point for you to really balance things out?
It might have been the moment that I was sent to the hospital for that. What I thought was a heart attack. I legit thought it was a heart attack. It might have been that moment. I made a bet with somebody in the beginning of 2020 that I couldn't run 4 miles a day every day for 60 days straight. And I did that. And for some reason that also snapped me into this like health reality. It was the most successful 60 days of my life in health and business. They coincided almost exactly. Like I'd never made more money. I'd never been happier. I'd never been healthier. And I was like, that's interesting. So I started to put health at the forefront of everything, at the forefront of every day. I got into racing. I got into Spartan races. I got into ultra marathons. And I mean, if you can run, there's nothing better in the world. Look, running sucks. Everyone hates running. I hate running. But when you go run 5 miles or 10 miles and you come back, you're a new person. When you go hike on trails and in the mountains and you come back, you're a new person. Like nothing, it's the greatest session of therapy you can ever give yourself is being outside and exercising and running and being on the trails. And for me, with my dogs, and it's the great reset. And so I think when I started to realize that maybe 4 or 5 years ago, everything started to turn because I was like, oh, if I just commit to this, everything else gets better.
Yeah, I love that. So let's talk just a bit more about your travel and those passions of yours, because I was really intrigued with the fact that you said what your family has done and what y'all plan to do. So the traveling, how's it affected or influenced your personal growth, professional growth, or your family?
Well, I did travel. My wife and I traveled full time for nearly 2 years straight when we were in our mid-20s. So that was the first core value like established in our life where we were like, we got to find careers that like allow us to travel. And real estate really went hand in hand with that. We didn't do much traveling in the beginning, but now that we've like systemized things and we have staff and we have leverage, we can leave and not feel like I know for a fact when I leave, I'm not going to drive in as much business as I would if I stayed. And I think I wrote this on a page today. I just wrote like, I could probably make 2 times the money, but I don't want to sacrifice the time of this chapter of my kid's life and my relationship with my wife. Like I'm in my late 30s. Is there any other better time in my entire life, chapter of life, that's going to be this amazing to travel with my family? And the answer is no. So it's like, I'm going to sacrifice making the boatloads of money, right? I think making high 6 figures consistently is fine. And travel. And when you travel, you get phenomenal perspective on how lucky we are in this country. You get phenomenal perspective and you come back so gracious and humbled and full of gratitude for what we have here that you just want to get back to work. Like every single time, there's nothing better than to increase productivity than getting out and traveling and coming home. So it's a fantastic combination.
Yeah. What's your favorite place that y'all have traveled to so far?
Favorite place I've traveled with my wife to, toss up kind of between New Zealand and Nepal. Both have similar characteristics, but Nepal, we did a unbelievable trek called the Annapurna Circuit Trek, which was also life transforming. That was fantastic. New Zealand with my kids, there's nothing better than Costa Rica. the animal. We've been to Costa Rica a bunch of times. The animals over there, you're in the jungle. There's animals, there's monkeys everywhere. There's lizards and snakes and all kinds of stuff. So with my kids, it was probably Costa Rica. I mean, Central America is a special place to bring kids.
Yeah. Love that. It's on my list. I still haven't been that way, but it seems like a good time.
You're a quick flight from there, man. Yeah. I think you were like maybe a 3 or 4 hour flight from Costa Rica.
Yeah. It's not too bad. So how do you keep your resilience despite any like adversities or things that you go through? What do you think recharges you on a daily basis? Like I try to emphasize to a lot of agents or people that I'm mentoring is good daily habits. Do you have a specific routine or those things that are doing that for you?
100%. I follow Miracle Morning almost verbatim. That's a really great book that anyone should read that's struggling in their mornings specifically. So it talks about savers. That's basically the whole book is based on savers. So silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, writing. That last S is scribing, but it's writing. And then I love to sauna. So those are some of the things that I do almost on a daily basis, 6 days of the week for sure. And it's very simple. But there's just nothing better than showing gratitude and writing it out. And also just journaling in general gets a lot of the pressure out of our mind and onto a page. Like it sounds so, I don't know, it sounds so silly, but just like writing things down, writing your frustrations or sadness or anger, writing down your goals. I write down my goals every day on the shower wall. I talk about that often. Just what do I want to do today, right? I want to talk to X amount of people. I want to do this, and then I'll put some larger goals there, like, hit the Spartan trifecta race or whatever. And it just stays top of mind. But I just think doing those simple things, so simple, can be life changing for so many people.
Yeah. Something I always appreciate, and I think a lot of people might find intriguing, is I like when people are willing to be vulnerable for a second, that despite all the successes and everything that you have in your life, what is your biggest fear? And something that you have to overcome, your biggest insecurity, even maybe with your own personal business or with you, and that you're actively working on, because I think that makes people feel so relatable, right?
The biggest thing by far and away is like immediately came to my head was like, I'm going to die before I get to do everything I want to do. Like my biggest fear by far and away is like, I'm going to die before I get to build the empire I want to hand off to my children, or I'm going to die before I get to have all the experiences I want to have with them or my wife. I feel like there's not enough time. And honestly, even if I live to 80 or 90, there's not enough time, right? And so with that perspective, it makes every day so important to at least move the ball forward a little bit, move the rock forward a little bit, right? That's my biggest fear is just time. Like none of us know how much time we have here. And that's a super scary thought for me. Like, I'm not afraid of dying. I used to be afraid of dying. That was like a serious fear of mine when I was like, I don't know, teenager, 20s. But now that I have kids, it's just like that I don't get enough done, before I'm dead.
Yeah.
It's kind of a morbid, dark thing, but that's by far and away my biggest fear is like, I don't accomplish everything I want to accomplish before I die.
No, but you see, that brings full circle, and it gives us a little insight into who you are, because you do talk about how much importance you put on family time, and that makes so much sense that that's part of where your fear. So you're driven to spend more time with your family out of the fact of you knowing that you don't have forever, and you recognize that, and that's beautiful. That really is, because it puts your family in the place that they should be in your life, and I love that. That's very inspiring.
Well, I just need 16 more years. I honestly think my son has probably gleaned the best of me already. And, I just want to have enough time with them to create warriors, strong individuals who are not just really strong physically and mentally, but also like compassionate and giving. And like, you really do that through example. Like you could say as much as you want, but like, there can be a scary homeless person on the side of the road. And I'm not saying like go up to scary homeless people, full disclosure. But, we walked by him, we came back, we gave him a burrito, and we said, dude, good luck to you. I hope you have a good day. Right. And little thing, my son's seen me run all these big races that like really are huge feats, physical, feats. And he's seen me in just catastrophic pain. And the kid will go jump in the coldest of rivers first. Like, so it's those types of things that I want to pass on to them. And Have you read the book Die with Zero?
No.
Phenomenal book. But a lot of what I'm talking about, he highlights. And before I read that book, it was how I was living. But once I read it, it really brought it into clarity. Like, we really only have these chapters of life that we can do certain things. And you have to realize that those chapters go by super fast. Like, believe the people who are older than us and say life goes by fast, right? So we really only have these tiny little chapters of time where we have what we have. And so if there's only these tiny little chapters of where we have what we have to do what we're supposed to do in those chapters to really like make those chapters the most. And I think that's just a great way most entrepreneurs should look at their life, and don't put their business first, right? Put their family first, put their health first, put experiences first. And I promise you business gets better. That's the best part. Like, business actually explodes when you focus on the right things.
Yeah. Love that. One of my last questions, what advice do you think you would have for individuals that you think they may be facing challenges, or they're on their entrepreneurial journey? They may be just starting it, or maybe they're experienced. What do you think is a solid piece of advice to really help them hit the ground running with it?
I think the first thing is like surround yourself with positive people. It's very easy, especially in real estate. 9 out of 10 of your colleagues, maybe 8 out of your 10 of your colleagues suck at their job, right? So you have to understand that. And you don't want to be around those people, like, because they're going to be talking about the NAR settlement, the lack of inventory, the interest rates, why their open house sucked, but they're not going to talk about like, let's go do 7 open houses this week and like not use the market as an excuse. Like, let's talk to 150 people today. I'll challenge you to do that, right? This week. And I'll hold you accountable every single day, right? Hey, let's go hike this crazy mountain at 5 a.m. Like, that's a much different conversation. So who you surround yourself with is the most important thing, because they'll drag you out of the tough times, the dark times, and then work on yourself and your personal development more than you work on anything else. If you can get this straight, which is so hard to get straight, you'll be able to do anything else. And I do encourage you to attach this to this.
He's pointing at his head. For those who are just listening.
My brain, right? Get in between your ears squared away and attach your personal growth to pain, delivering pain to your body. I really like that concept of pushing yourself physically to push yourself mentally. Yeah. Because then the phone calls and the rejections and the issues, like, they just mean much less and they're much easier to deal with. That's my best advice.
Love it. I think it's great. So, I mean, all of this has been super inspiring, and I love hearing all this about you. Great story, good insights. And I'm just, before we wrap it up, do you think there's any final advice or any points that you would want to leave with our listeners or anything of that nature?
You think it'll be all realtors listening to this, or?
It might be a majority of it, but it could be a broad entrepreneurs. And I have quite a different plethora of people who follow me for different reasons. So, because I was in the fitness industry for a long time. So.
Okay. Well, let's say it's entrepreneurs as a whole. You're in sales. Hate to break it to you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking to everyone. Like, you're in sales, okay? If you're a realtor and you're an entrepreneur, you are in sales. Sales is your fastest way to success, period, right? So outbound prospecting, when you're broke and you're struggling, is your fastest way to get off the wall. So move with urgency. Understand you're in sales, master the game of sales, which is both marketing, right? Marketing and prospecting. Because when you market, guess what? They turn into prospects that come in, and you have to know how to speak to those people and convert them. Mm-hmm. So you have to master sales, guys. And beyond the hippy dippy stuff about me talking about my mornings, like, the most important thing of your day is your sales. And so master sales and then figure out the rest of the business. That's it.
Yeah. It sounds simple. It's just about executing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Last question. This is just a fun one that I like to include with each guest, but what are you reading? What are you watching? And what are you listening to currently? So, reading first. Any books you're reading or any that you love you want to tell us about?
I have like 7 books I'm reading right now, but the best book I'm reading right now is Let My People Go Surfing, from the founder of Patagonia. It's the coolest book. You got to read it.
Okay.
It's actually aligns with this podcast. Like, it's how to live like a sustainable, beautiful business, right? It's not about capitalism. It's not about more. It's not about growth. It's about living a more fulfilled life and doing it sustainably for our earth. Phenomenal book. And what a guy, Yvon Chouinard, amazing guy. founder of Patagonia. So that's what I'm reading. What I'm listening to, I'm doing a book club right now, and we are listening to Buy Back Your Time. Just about leverage and like not doing the small tasks. And then you said, what am I watching?
Yeah.
I'm always watching Survivor. I know that sounds hilarious and probably dates me, but I'm a big Survivor fan, and NBA playoffs are on right now. So that's what I'm watching.
There you go. Nice. Very cool. And from the listening perspective, I know you said Audible. Do you listen to music at all?
I do. Yeah, I listen to music on my way to, so I try to listen to comedy podcasts, books, Audible books, and music all while I'm driving wherever I'm going. Try to chop it up and listen to each because they all inspire me in different ways. But yes, I do listen to music.
Okay, awesome. And if everybody wants to connect with you, what's the best way to connect with you and talk with you? Maybe they're interested in, joining you, mentoring with you. How would they get in touch?
By far and away, The Giving Agent on Instagram. There also is a really cool The Giving Agent mastermind and referral page on Facebook that I'm trying to breathe life into right now. So if you guys join that, want to contribute there, that'd be great as well.
Awesome. And we'll link all of your social medias and everything when we get this posted. But thank you so much, Danny. It was an honor to have you on the deep dive, and we wish you and your family all the best in your travels.
Thanks, Drake. This was fun.
Thanks. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to another amazing episode. Stay tuned. We have so much more in store for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you for diving into the world of entrepreneurial grit, personal growth, and financial mastery. Drake is here to arm you with the necessary toolkit to cultivate, nurture, and realize your groundbreaking ideas. Keep journeying with us by tuning in to subsequent episodes at deepdivewithdrake.com. The path to a flourishing entrepreneurial life is within reach if you commandeer your professional voyage and steadfastly chase your ambitions. See you on the next highly engaging episode. Until next time.